I said in my last video after I ranked my top 10 favorite Seinfeld episodes. The video before was my top 10, the ranking on my of all the Seinfeld seasons, and then my top 10 favorite Seinfeld episodes. I said I was gonna do my top 10 favorite sitcoms, and yeah, I got it all picked out. So it's not the 47th video anymore, and long before my top 10 favorite mobile games. But I all picked out, not ranked exactly, but you know, with the sitcoms, I gotta say I don't think I really have 10 sitcoms. I have 30 sitcoms maybe I really like, but even more, but not 10 that I can be really proud of to say is my top 10. So they're not my top 10 favorite television series, maybe, but I don't know. I'm gonna see if I get back to that. So instead, now I'm gonna rank my top 10 favorite sci-fi movies of all time, science fiction movies. My favorite genre of all time is science fiction, so a little story. I have always loved science fiction, really liked that. Like science fiction is the X-Files, which I really love. One of my favorite television series of all time, which was in my third favorite television series of all time when I did the ranking over a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago. So Black Mirror. Then I watched Black Mirror in 2016, and I really got into science fiction. Before that, my favorite genre in film was like mystery thrillers with supernatural stuff. Not really super, but mystery thrillers and film noirs and crime film noirs. With this list, okay, science fiction can be mixed with so many genres. So you can have science fiction thriller, action science fiction drama thriller, science fiction adventure, whatever. So okay, so I've seen this in many professional ranking lists of not only science fiction but other genres as well. So they tend to, and I'm talking about professional rankings now, so they tend to not take the greatest films, which is the best film, but the best science fiction film. For example, if they do a ranking of science fiction films, is the best science fiction films, but not really the best films. So, like, for example, let's say you have a science fiction film that is much better, but it's not as good for science fiction as that, in the ranking. So, for example, like 2001, A Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, it doesn't really matter in this, but if they take the film that is better for science fiction than rather than it's a better film. So so I have a fucking long list of films that wasn't in my top 10. I could do a top 30 easily, science fiction films more, but I'm gonna stick with the top 10. So the ones that wasn't in mine is longer than my top 10. So like the first Star Wars trilogy, actually isn't in mine. None of the films. You know, Star Wars 1977, not Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope. It's called Star Wars, simply called Star Wars. But it's known for Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, but it's called Star Wars, that's the real name. Isn't in mine. Star Wars Episode 5 The Emperor Strikes Back 1980 isn't in mine. Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi 1983 isn't in mine. The three first Star Wars film, Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6, Star Wars Episode 5, Episode 6, great science fiction film, but actually aren't in mine. Another, I just gonna go through the most famous science fiction films with Star Wars are some of them. So Alien 1979 isn't in mine. Aliens 1986, the follow-up, isn't in mine. The Thing 1982, John Carpenter's remake of an old film, isn't in mine. Planet of the Apes 1968 isn't in mine. But one of the films with one of my favorite twist endings of all time. But it's not in my top 10 science fiction films. E.T. the Extraterrestrial 1982. A Clockwork Orange 1971. I love many of these films. So The Terminator 1984 and the follow-up Terminator 2 Judgment Day 1991, Back to the Future Part 2 1989, Inception 2010, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind 2004, Ex Machina 2014. You know, it's so many great films, but it's creepy. I had Metropolis 1927 on DVD, but over so many years ago. I don't remember I watched the whole film actually. Maybe I did, I'm not sure. So, and I haven't seen any Star Trek film. What I can remember, the Wrath of Khan is known as the best. Maybe I've seen some, can't remember, but I have watched when I was a kid Star Trek the television series, which was on reruns, the original series, and Star Trek the Next Generation. But the films, the movies, because this is ranking of my top 10 favorite science fiction movies, so I don't remember seeing actually any Star Trek movie. And Le Voyage dans la Lune, a trip, translated as A Trip to the Moon, 1902. The first science fiction film, but it's a short film, so it doesn't count. So, and science fiction is definitely in some ways the smartest, most intelligent genre of all. Yeah, when you get, and when they do twist endings often in it. So okay, let's get down to the ranking, and everyone's ranking is gonna be different. So remember, this is not the greatest science fiction of films of all time, but many, most of them are obvious choices, but it's my personal ranking. So 10, 2001 A Space Odyssey. 1968 science fiction adventure science fiction film based on the short story The Sentinel by Arthur C. Clarke, screenplay by Arthur C. Clarke and Stanley Kubrick, directed by Stanley Kubrick, known as the greatest director of all time. I would say Stanley Kubrick and Ingmar Bergman are the two greatest directors of all time. Every movie Stanley Kubrick makes will be known as the greatest movie of that genre, most of them. So yeah, so it's a story about evolution, and what I realized the last year is this fucking may be the greatest movie of all time. Other show, Ingmar Bergman's Persona, The Seventh Seal, The Sjunde Inseglet, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. 2001: A Space Odyssey is a fucking phenomenal film. Yeah, the only thing, because in science fiction you shouldn't spoil anything. It's a story about the evolution of mankind, and it's fucking extraordinary. Oh God! So the main character, Doctor Dane Bowman, is played by Keir Donan, as Hell 9000, the world greatest supercomputer, artificial intelligence, but really it is a story about evolution, and one of the greatest movies of all time, known as Stanley Kubrick, which is known as the greatest directors of all time, his greatest movie of all time, as it is known for. So yeah, this was a tough. I started this almost when I woke up a few hours later, but yeah, one of the greatest movies of all time. If someone would say to me this is the greatest movie of all time, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. I think it was BFI when they did the greatest movies of all time, film critics and directors and all over the world. I think this was number 6. So known as the greatest sci-fi film of all time, either this or another we're gonna go into. 9, Predestination, 2014, a sci-fi drama thriller, action elements, sort of, based on a short story called All You Zombies by Robert A. Haleman, written by and screenplay by the Spear brothers, and directed by the Spear brothers, Michael Spear and Peter Spear. Yes, stars Ethan Hawke as the Bearkeeps. So it's his final assignment. He's like a top temporal agent. He pursues the one criminal that is search for his whole life. It's a bit like it's a time travel film. I watched this because I looked up science fiction film with twist endings, which many of them have, probably most of them. So, and when I watched this film, I figured out the twist. I did when I watched the film, but wow, it's fucking disturbing. I promise you that. Really great film. Great film. I almost feel ashamed it's over 2001: A Space Odyssey, but it's personal for me how I like films. So 8, Blade Runner, 1982. This is the film. So either 2001: A Space Odyssey or Blade Runner is known as the greatest sci-fi film of all time. One of these. So based on a novel. It's said on IMDb novel, but was it the novella? Maybe it was a novel. Based on a novel by Philip K. Dick, one of the greatest sci-fi authors of all time. I had his novella Scanner Darkly, which is absolutely amazing. Based on Philip K. Dick's novel, or was it novella, Do Android Dream of Electric Sheep? Screenplay by Hampton Fancher and David Webber Popels, directed by Ridley Scott, one of the greatest sci-fi directors of all time. So it stars Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard, a Blade Runner, sent to, as many other Blade Runners, destroying replicants, which is like robots, android, or destroying them, turning them off, retiring them. Sean Young as Rachel, she's a replicant. You find out that. Another role, Rutger Hauer as Roy Batty, and many other great characters. So I'm not gonna go into much, but you know, either 2001: A Space Odyssey or Blade Runner, one of those are known as the greatest science fiction films of all time. So yeah, I'm gonna have a smoke, and this is gonna be quite a long video. So 7, The Matrix, 1999, sci-fi, science fiction with action scenes, so it's like a science fiction action film. Very deep film. Written and directed by the Wachowskis. They went for the Wachowski brothers, but now they're called Lily Wachowski and Lana Wachowski because both had the sex change. Stars Keanu Reeves as Neo, what is called in the Matrix. Computer programmer Kenny-Ann Moss as Trinity, a girl he met. Lauren Fishburne as Morpheus. When he says to take the red pill, take the blue pill. Alice in Wonderland reference, sort of. But if you have seen the movie, you know what I mean. Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith. Great character. Another is I really like is Gloria Foster as the Oracle. One of my favorite scenes here is the deja vu scene. The cat and comes again. The Oracle says it's a glitch in the Matrix. So the Matrix is not a real world, so and so Neo, whatever his real name was, so he gets into, if he takes the red pill or the blue pill, whatever it was, he gonna experience the world like it really is. And many great things here. Groundbreaking, see, like the slow-mo scenes, fighting, slow-mo fighting scenes. And in real life, this fucking movie has almost become like a religion. You know, if you know who David Icke is, conspiracy theorist, which I don't believe in, but you know, it's like they compare almost like the world is a simulation, like the Matrix. I'm not gonna go in and I'm not gonna spoil anything. Watch this movie, it's one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. As it's known for, it's absolutely fucking phenomenal. 6, the greenest film of all time, the green color correction and everything is known for. Whatever, so 6, Jurassic Park 1993 is an action-adventure sci-fi film based on a novel by Michael Crichton, screenplay by Michael Crichton and David Coep. David Coe is one of the greatest, one of my favorite screenwriters of all time, and one of the greatest, I think. Directed by Steven Spielberg, Hollywood schoolboy, the most known director of all time. Sam Neill as Grant, so Laura Dern as Sally, Jeff Goldblum as Malcolm, Richard Eltrow as Hammond, so another their funny role is by When Night as Nedry. Samuel L. Jackson is in this movie, and So it's an island, like a theme park, where this Hammond get people in researchers and whatever. So yeah, they had took the DNA from an insect, whatever, who has sucked from a dinosaur, whatever, and created dinosaurs in this part. So yeah, science fiction-ish, but could it happen? Maybe not really. But so yeah, science fiction, and it is a science fiction film. It's an action adventure science fiction, and this film is known for its unbelievable special effects and computer animation for its time. It still holds up today, better than all other Jurassic Park films I've seen, I think. This is the ultimate dinosaur movie, and I'm obsessed with dinosaurs. Bill since I was a kid, so. Oh. Sorry. 5 Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977. Sci-fi drama, very exciting film. Written by Steven Spielberg again. Another, which it was mentioned on IMDb, Hellbound additional story. Jerry Belson, written by also, according to IMDb. John Hill, additional writing. Matthew Robbins, additional story, directed by Steven Spielberg. You know, the greatest science fiction, but he does many genres. But the greatest science fiction directors of all time is, yeah, I would say the most known: Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, Christopher Nolan, Ridley Scott, the typical ones. Okay, so he stars Richard Dreyfuss as Ron Neary after he had a close encounter with a UFO, identified flying object. He got totally obsessed with this. And Terry Gare, his wife, really great performance. This is, I think, and it's known as the ultimate UFO alien movie. What I heard, sort of based on real stories, but I don't think any of these stories is real anyways, but how Steven Spielberg got some of the information. Sort of a remake of his first, one of his first, I think his first independent film when he was Young Firelight, whatever, or I haven't seen that, but much better movie, not official release movie, what I think so. No, it's not. But yeah, this is the ultimate UFO alien movie. Yeah, it's a sci-fi drama, and it's the absolute elite, absolute one of the best, one of the most known. Highly recommend it. And how he gets obsessed with the, how much should I reveal? So how he gets obsessed with UFOs and it's yeah, it's the ultimate, absolutely ultimate UFO alien movie. It won't disappoint you. Watch this film if you're into that kind of stuff. So For Her 2013 is a drama, romance, science fiction. Romance, sort of drama, romance, science fiction, and it's my favorite film of the 2010s forwards. My favorite films of the 2010s. Written and directed by Spike Jonze, who is known for being doing weird films like being John Malkovich, Adaption, and he's a fucking great director and great music video director, one of the greatest. as Michel Gondry, who did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I mentioned, which isn't in my top 10. But so it stars Joaquin Phoenix as Theodore, amazing performance, a lonely man who, and again, how much should I reveal? So he, the world's first artificial intelligent operation system, which he talks to girls, but none of them are really artificial intelligence. It's a voice and everything. So are they conscious? Not really sure. I don't think so. Maybe. And he's falling in love with this voice. The voice Samantha, which is one of this artificial intelligent operation system. Samantha's voice is done by Scarlett Johansson. Amazing voice performance. It's very sad story, and it's very Black Mirror-ish. If you're into Black Mirror, my favorite anthology television series, my favorite television series of all time, science fiction series, I highly, highly recommend this film. Very sad story. The ending, the twist ending, is absolutely perfect. It's so sad, but it's perfect, absolutely perfect movie. I think. 3, Back to the Future, 1985. Comedy, science fiction comedy adventure, written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, directed by Robert Zemeckis. And Robert Zemeckis is very known for doing animation, computer animation, 3D and everything in movies after. So starring Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, Christopher Lloyd as Dr. Emmett Brown, a scientist, and their parents Leah Thompson and Crispin Glover. Crispin Glover, one of my favorite actors of all time, very silly, over the top. And another great is Tom Wilson as Biff Tannen. It's a time travel film. So it starts with Darren in 1985, travel back to 1955 with a DeLorean car, which they did is a time machine that Dr. Emmett Brown invented, the scientist of the flux capacitor. And yeah, I would say this is like the ultimate time travel movies. It's absolute, and I'm real obsessed with time traveling, but because scientists say that it's possible it could happen in real life. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but maybe. One of my biggest obsession in life is time travel, so this is the ultimate time travel movie. And Back to the Future 2, Part 2, and Back to the Future Part 3. Part 2 is great, Part 3 is not that great. They go back 100 years before to... In the second, they travel to 2015 and to 1885 in Part 3. But the first one is definitely the best. And Part 2 is close, but first one is the best, as it's known for. And I heard also it's called the greatest movie trilogy of all time. I have another choice. The Indiana Jones trilogy. Without the crystal skulls, but the original. But whatever, is subject now. So, to Donnie Darko 2001. Yeah, this is a drama, mystery, sci-fi, drama, mystery, sci-fi, thriller, a bit, how drama, mystery, drama, sci-fi, whatever. Written and directed by Richard Kelly. His breakthrough. This is a real cult film. And I think Southland Tales and The Box, his two other films, is extremely underrated. And he has not made another film, directed another film since 2009, The Box. But anyway, so stars Jake Gyllenhaal, one of my favorite actors, as Donnie Darko. And he meets this girl, Gretchen Ross, played by Jenna Maloney. Patrick Swayze is in this movie, and Drew Barrymore. I think she has produced this movie. So, yeah, this movie, when I watched this the first time, and Richard Kelly is sort of ripping off David Lynch, but with a science fiction stamp, sort of science fiction-ish. This movie is quite kind of like David Lynch light, but it's very David Lynch like all Richard Kelly's 3 movies. Donnie Darko, Ronnie Rocket, similar name. Film Lynch wrote but never released. So I can't reveal too much, but it's a very David Lynchian movie. Science fiction David Lynchian movie, but it's also mystery. So Donnie Darko has an imaginary friend named Frank, a bunny, really scary looking bunny, like and he says to him the exact date when the world is gonna end. Donnie is also going to a psychiatrist and getting pills, so maybe schizophrenic, maybe not. You're not sure really at the start. And yeah, it's about time travel also in this film. It's an absolute masterpiece. Really amazing cult film with a great cult following. Absolutely amazing. Can't reveal too much, but yeah, the ending when you see things that happen and how it goes through, and you just left like watching a David Lynch movie. David Lynch, my favorite director of all time. But anyways, number 1, Videodrome 1983 is a horror sci-fi thriller. My third favorite film of all time, when I did my ranking on my top 10 favorite films of all time. Written and directed by David Cronenberg. Stars James Woods as Max Rann, who has this TV station where they air everything from hardcore porn to snuff, really perverted sick shit. He meets this woman, Debbie Harry, Nikki Brand, played by Debbie Harry, who was in the band, which I really love. The singer, but I can't remember the name now. Blondie. She was starting doing really sort of perverted sexual stuff and many other great casts. So this, in my personal opinion, is making TV perverted and in everyone stretch it out, make it perverted like shit. And when I was a kid, when I watched this film with my brother, at one point when I watched it the first time, at that time it was my scariest, the most frightening film I have ever seen. It has some BDSM elements, really scary stuff, which I think is scary, and many perverted stuff, really scary stuff. So, but I'm not easily Friday anymore when I got older, but yeah, it's one of the most intense, most exciting films I have ever seen. It's yeah, watch it. You know, it's does it deserve to be the greatest sci-fi film of all time? It's a horror sci-fi thriller. It's my personal sci-fi film of all time. One thing I'm gonna say in this is when you watch this, there's a line where I can't reveal where it is. Death to Videodrome. Just watch this film. It's absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so this was my top 10 favorite science fiction movies of all time. My favorite genre of all time, science fiction, and I think this is the longest video I ever done. So it's go over 36 minutes now. So yeah, I see what I do next time. I'm not really sure right now, but many videos planned. So see you next time. Bye.